Greetings, I'm Glenn Witecki from the Witecki Law Office. Let's talk about wills and what a will does and doesn't do. A will is your written declaration stating who you want to inherit your property after your passing. It's important to know what a will covers property-wise and what it does not cover. So a will controls whatever property you own just in your name at death with no co-owner, no beneficiary, and that's not in a trust. So, for example, if you own real estate with a spouse or another individual as joint tenants, and if they outlive you, then upon your passing, they are going to inherit that real estate. Or if you have a life insurance policy, a retirement account, or a bank account, and you have a designated beneficiary, such as transfer on death or in trust for them, and if they outlive you, then they are going to inherit that asset, and it does not matter what your will says about it because your will doesn't control it. Your will is a document of last resort. What I mean by that is it only controls assets that you own just in your own name with no co-owner and no beneficiary. And for those assets, your will describes and mandates what's going to happen to them. Your will does not say, I wish this or I hope that, because those are called precatory words that do not control the disposition of your assets. What your will says is, I direct that my beneficiaries receive this property or that property. Now, there are really four basic kinds of bequest that you can find in a will. And we have one of our clients, Becky Quick, who's volunteered to come in and demonstrate for us how this works. Now, in Becky's case, Becky has a couple of siblings, but early on in her life, just out of high school, Becky left the family home and joined the circus, and she's lost touch with her immediate relatives, her closest relatives being brothers and sisters. But yet Becky has people she wants to inherit her assets, and so she's going to do a will or a trust in order to make that happen. Now, the first person that Becky wants to leave something to is her friend Qatada. She met Qatada at the circus. Qatada was kind of an administrative type person, so Becky got to know her. They struck up a nice bond. And Becky, early on in her life when she was traveling with the circus, learned to purchase things on Amazon, and she was smart enough to purchase Amazon stock when it was very low in price. So Becky has a significant estate to leave to people, and whatever's left, she wants to share it with Qatada. And so what she wants to leave Qatada is actually some of her stock. So what Becky is going to say in her will is, I direct that my shares of Amazon stock go to my friend Qatada. And that is called a specific bequest. It's specific because it names a particular asset going to a particular beneficiary. So Qatada is going to be the beneficiary of some of the Amazon stock. Now, and by the way, Qatada wanted you to see her dolly. This is Qatada's doll. And so, we promised Qatada that if she participated, we would show her doll in the video. Now also, here's little Chan Pui. Chan is an orphan. He lost his parents to the coronavirus in Wuhan province a few months ago. And Becky was able to bring him over to the States and care for him. But Becky can't leave him a direct inheritance because he's under 18 years of age. So the first kind of bequest we talked about was a specific bequest of a specific asset. The kind of bequest that little Chan Pui would get is a bequest in trust. So Becky can put some assets in the trust and name in a will inside, in a trust inside the will, and name a person, her trustee and executor, who's going to manage that property for little Chan Pui. And the terms of that trust that's inside the will are going to be that if he needs things prior to turning 18, such as for his health, education, maintenance, and welfare, then the trustee can expend some of the money left for him for those purposes. And then when he turns 18 or perhaps 21 or 25, whatever age Becky determines, then whatever's left of his inheritance, he'll get it all at that point. So that's how we take care of Chan Pui. Then we have, this is Becky's friend also, and she doesn't like to share her name with anyone, but she's an older woman who was also with the circus and who helped folks out, and she's kind of become part of Becky's extended family here now. And so Becky wants to leave her a specific bequest. Excuse me one second. And so Becky wants to leave her very special hat. So when Becky got divorced, her husband left her this bear claw hat that he had located down in New Orleans. So this is another example of a specific bequest. A specific bequest can be jewelry, other property, it can be a car, or anything like that, or in this case it's going to be this particular hat. And now another kind of asset, another kind of disposition you can have is called a general bequest. So if Becky were to say that she wants to leave somebody all the money in a particular bank account, that would be a specific bequest. But if Becky says, I want to leave my friend $10,000 without specifying where that $10,000 is going to come from, then that's considered a general bequest, a bequest generally from the money, from the cash that Becky has in her estate. So those are some of the kinds of bequests you can have. A specific bequest, a general bequest, a bequest in trust, and the last kind of bequest you can have under a will is a residuary bequest. So your will typically says, here's specific property I want to leave to someone, here are my general bequests, and then anything else that goes under my will, which we call the residuary, you say the rest, residue, and remainder, which is a residuary, I want to go to my friend this or that. A will also names an executor or trustee to handle the matters of the estate. So in this case, this is Becky's friend Arnold. Arnold, when he was with the circus, was billed as the world's smallest man. We can see Arnold has some neck issues now with some arthritis, but the fact that he has physical issues does not diminish his capacity in order to be the executor and trustee of Becky's will. To the extent Becky is leaving specific or general or residuary bequests to beneficiaries, then Arnold is going to handle those as executor. To the extent that little Chan Pui is going to have cash that's going to be left to him before he turns 18, then if Becky dies before he's 18, Arnold will manage that as the trustee created under the will. So you can have a trust created under a will. It's called a testamentary trust because you have a last will and testament that creates a trust and names a trustee. So if you want other information about other aspects of estate planning, including the use of trusts, will challenges, and so forth, please look at some of the other videos on our site.